There may be only one game in the NBA today, but you know I got to still show up and do the work here, as we always do Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. here on the Splash Play Bets channel. We're going to dig in and compare my data, as we always do, to Stokastic, see what the projections look like, see what the ownership looks like for today's showdown single game slate today with the Clippers and the Suns. We're also going to look at what the Sims look like. We're going to go game by game, I guess. At the end of this video, you know all the must plays along with my Splash Plays for the November 6th NBA slate. Let's get into it. There's an NFL slate today. I'm sure most people are going to care a lot more about that, but there is still $50K to first place in this tournament today. And yesterday was a pretty good day where honestly got killed by Jeremiah Fears again. He didn't help me out very much, especially against the incredible amounts of Alvarado chalk that came up. But I feel like we had some really good takes, some good projection plays as well with the Duran versus Stewart take we had on the show yesterday. Michael Porter Jr. also great projection play. I had like the bones of some nice lineups. Nothing broke free. Would like to get something going in NBA, and maybe Showdown's thing to do. Showdown for NBA, I would say dissimilar from Showdown for NFL, where we're not trying to get, flip the build kind of stuff. We're not trying to say, hey, what if the Raiders are good today? We're mostly trying to say, hey, let's still play top shifted players, but what do we get by plunking some value guys in? Bogdan Bogdanovic today, a 24x value on the slate. He's priced at 1K. But you don't actually need to play him to build a good lineup. So Showdown in NBA, I would say, is weird. But the good news is that we will try to find the best plays, as we always do. Showdown time X2 today. That's correct. This one, though, at least a later tip-off. So we'll have some time in between the NFL lock time and this one. And one-game slates are not fun. Look, anything's fun if you could win money on it, right? I haven't played Showdown NBA for a while. Yeah, I was doing Showdown videos for the NBA Finals, so I've been here before. That said, Showdowns are a different game, I feel like, than a main slate of NBA. But Devin Booker will be one of our highest owned plays tonight. 11.6 salary for him. I'm at a 43.2 projection. Same thing as we always do here, where we are waiting this season a little bit more. Every game that's played this season counts as 4 games. And Devin Booker's had a good few games with a ton of usage to go around, with the Suns team depleted of the stars last year. Revenge game for Bradley Beal tonight, but he's gone. Kevin Durant gone. Booker has been soaking it up usage-wise overall. 32% usage, 33% assist rate, so killing about 65% of the possessions when he's on the court. He's also been averaging 1.26 fantasy points per minute, which in a game where there is no James Harden, he's out for personal reasons. Kawhi Leonard apparently banged up as well. Devin Booker is your best per minute producer, so he's likely going to be in pretty much every lineup. Hard to argue it. The one thing you could say is that Jalen Green's going to be in today. Whether he starts or not, we'll see. He's coming off a hamstring injury. I would think the most likely outcome is that he plays off the bench. That said, he could start. That would sort of upset the usage for Booker a little bit. But Booker's your star here. The Clippers are weaker than usual too, so they're normally decent enough defense. It's getting worse today, you would think, with some of the guys they have out. For Booker, it's hard to talk about fading him, really, besides the fact that he's going to be incredibly owned. But 54% ownership overall. I got him in 44%. I believe this is just flex ownership right now for Devin Booker. Number 2 is Ivica Zubac, another guy who historically has benefited when Harden's been out, when Kawhi has been out. This year's Zubac starting the year at a 1.04 fantasy point per minute pace. Today, when accounting for the utter lack of Clippers available, in particular, obviously Harden and Kawhi, where a lot of the stats flow their way, those now get distributed around to everybody, basically. Zubac is a center who does produce pretty well. Rebounds at about a 17 rebound per 100 possession clip. He's going to be one of the better plays today. So I think a lot of people, whether they're going to play Booker at captain, if you're not playing Booker at captain, projection-wise, the gap between Zubac and everybody else, these are going to be your 2 most likely captains. And in the sim I ran before the show with my data, checking the ownership here for these guys at captain, because I do not have it easily available on my sheet because I don't do that many showdown videos. Devin Booker, I got 44% in captain. Zubac, the field's expected to own at 45% in captain, but I actually only got 4 of him. I'm getting more Mark Williams captain, getting more Grayson Allen captain. Grayson Allen also right before the show downgraded to questionable with an illness, so that's another curveball in this already annoying showdown slate we have. Zubac will be your number two or number one owned captain. A lot of the ownership's going to Booker, and Stokastic thinks 84% of the total ownership at captain will go to Booker or Zubac. So if you hit the upside for a guy like Mark Williams, who is producing this year so far at a 1.2 fantasy point per minute pace, if you get John Collins going nuts somehow, you get a Nick Batum game, he should be starting because of Kawhi being out. That's sort of going to get you much more unique because everything here is going to push towards Booker and Zubac with their projections. For Stokastic data, these two above 40, nobody else besides Collins above 30. So that's a chasm here. You see why they're getting momentum at captain with Booker and Zubac. Mark Williams, I am above here. So Mark Williams playing more minutes lately. That's a positive. Today projects for 26.3 minutes. As I mentioned, a 1.2 fantasy point per minute pace, rebounding at about a 22% clip. He and Zubac going to be going head to head for the boards. Two guys that rebound pretty aggressively overall. Zubac, as I mentioned, 17 rebounds per 100 possessions. Mark Williams this year, 19. So he technically has been a little bit more of a voracious rebounder, if we want to say. For Mark Williams, I think he's played well. You do have Nick Richards right behind him. You're taking whatever minutes basically that, well, I guess some amount of the minutes that Mark Williams is not playing. You still have Iguodaro playing sub-center as well. But not really a direct pivot to Williams in the same way as there would be for a lot of centers will have on like a main slate. So for Mark Williams, he's their guy. He's priced at 8,200. I think he's the most compelling captain option. That's not Booker and Zubac, just relative to the projection and the ceiling that he has theoretically. But what happens sometimes when you have like two really aggressive rebounding centers, they both just end up kind of boxing each other out. I mean, we saw the opposite happen yesterday in the game with Nurkic, where he's getting rebounds, Jalen Duren's getting rebounds. Like they both were, I mean, really aggressive. I think Duren ended up with like 22, if I'm remembering correctly. And then also Nurkic had like 13, 14. That could happen here too. But, you know, it can go either way. I think a lot of volatility potentially to the rebound stuff when you have two really great rebounders going head-to-head like Mark Williams and Zubac are. Grayson Allen, so he is a Q tag with the illness. If he doesn't play, I don't know what happens. Basically, he played 35 minutes last game with Jalen Green not in. Jalen Green's going to be in, but you'd expect him to be on some kind of minutes limit coming off a hamstring thing. But Grayson Allen, if he plays a ton of minutes. He's likely going to close because the fact he brings defense, can shoot well enough, all that. But basically, if he doesn't play, Jalen Green will get in. Gillespie should lose less minutes than he would otherwise. So it matters a lot. Right now, with Grayson Allen assumed in, I got him at 66% of the sim lineups. I got Fields at 54% ownership. I also got Grayson Allen at captain and 15%. I think he's a really good play if he's in. If he's not in, the Phoenix situation could get weird and maybe get a Jalen Green start at a necessity as much as anything. John Collins, guy that I always liked last year. Utah, he was a great producer. Today, I have him a little bit better projected than Stokastic does with 30.4 compared to Stokastic's 30.2. He's also produced the best of the Clippers when we do have the limited sample size of Harden and Kawhi off the court. He's averaged 1.2 fantasy points a minute, along with 24% usage and a 16% rebound rate. The issue is that he's not likely to start. So for John Collins, if he does start, wheels up. I think he's a great captain play as well. Coming off the bench, you know, the minutes not being there all the way is always a possibility. But Collins, 7,600, think he's a good half your lineups kind of play. And at captain, did I get any? Captain, I got 9%, Fields at 5%. So again, if he starts, different equation there. I would want to get to him a lot more. As it is right now, Collins an okay play. Bogdanovic, 1K salary here, which I think if you use, you want to make sure to use basically as much money as possible. So obviously, if you are playing Bogdanovic, a lot of people might also be spending all the salary, same as any other showdown rules we would have for, you know, football, especially where you use a 50K salary on a team, you're usually going to be duped exponentially. For Bogdanovic, if you use all the salary with his 1K, I don't even know if it's possible, number one, because really the big thing is that Jalen Green doesn't project well enough. So this is the big thing for me, where if Grayson Allen doesn't start, you might get Jalen Green starting. If his minutes come up, he'll look playable at 9,400. But what Bogdanovic allows you to do is cram in all the stars. The issue is that there aren't stars on the slate because Harden and Kawhi aren't in. Those guys would have been priced like 10, 11K, you now can just kind of spend your money however you want. But because the projection for Jalen Green is low, I think that he's a really interesting play where you then use up more money, hope you capture the upside for him. At 9,400, 17% ownership, I think Jalen Green's a play that could really be important tonight, especially if you are playing Bogdanovic. So Bogdanovic, really cheap. You don't need to play him. As you can see with this ownership I have here, I'm above the field, but still only a 28% expected own play. It's one of those things where I would assume you have to jam in Bogdanovic. It's why I put him on the thumbnail before digging into the slate at more depth. But you don't really need to play a 1K guy for an NBA showdown in a slate where you don't have to pay for Harden, don't have to pay for Kawhi. So it's a weird play. I like, again, another thing for NBA showdown where like I can't recall this kind of situation occurring in NFL where it's like, oh, this guy is so cheap, projects so well, but you don't really want to play him like crazy. I would assume you would just lock Bogdanovic in, but the data does not support that. Captain, I only got 1% Bogdanovic as well because those salary savings do nothing for you really because there's nobody to play. So it's a weird situation with Bogdanovic on the slate. Still projects well, though. He should get more minutes because of not having Harden and Kawhi in. CP3 going to start. So he has been the direct backup to Harden's minutes. I think it's possible. It's possible also that CP3 is on some kind of minutes limit just to preserve him for the whole year. So that's another one where we need to know who's starting there. But it might not surprise you given what we talked about with Grayson Allen, given just the uncertainty around the Clippers with both Harden and Kawhi out. We had Kawhi out last game, so we know Nick Batum should start for him. For Harden, I'm real fast to pull up the popcorn machine. Clippers. We played OKC last. So Harden's backup, Chris Paul here. He leaves. Chris Paul comes in. Second half, Harden on the court. He leaves. Chris Paul's already in. Wait, no. Chris Paul comes in. My bad. That's Collins. Chris Paul comes in. So it should be Chris Paul picking up a lot of Harden's minutes. But if he's on a minutes limit, that might not be the case. So I think Chris Paul might start. He's another one, though, with where his price tag is. You don't really need to play him at 5,600 either. He's not like going to be a crazy value either. If he does start, it's honestly just like a weird slate. Like I know, I'm not giving you the ringing like enthusiasm for NBA Showdown here, but it's a weird slate because like I think Chris Paul could start. I don't know for sure. I think that Bogdanovic should be a play you cram in. I don't know that for sure. It's just odd how the pricing works and how this all comes together, I think. I don't know he's on a minutes limit, but I know Josh mentioned it on Stokastic strategy show this morning. And that's something where, he hasn't played a crazy amount of minutes that I'm aware of so far this year. So it's possible, but we just don't know. You just don't know. Anyway, these are all your top projected plays. Let's sort by value. You're going to see the same names coming up over and over again. Not a surprise. Tomorrow should be a more fun slate, though, because this is NBA Cup on a Friday. So we'll have guys playing more minutes theoretically because you want to pad your points totals in those NBA Cup games. But also, it's like, I think some decent games on the slate. Today is just one we got to get through and play whatever amount of action you want to with the NFL also going on. So top value, not a surprise. Bogdanovic is a 24x value. Looks pretty good. If for some reason Bogdanovic didn't hit, you have Jordan Goodwin, Yannick Niederhauser also here at a 1K salary as your pivots. But Bogdanovic should be playing most likely like 25 minutes, something like that. That's sort of how that goes. You can see last game too, which did have Harden in. Bogdanovic got to 30 minutes, so that does include the blowout time. If we take the blowout time out, you're still talking 23 minutes. So if Paul doesn't start with Harden out, Bogdanovic probably does. But even if Bogdanovic isn't starting, he's likely to find minutes, and at a 1K salary, he's still going to project pretty well no matter what. Nick Batum should start for Kawhi again, as you might have just seen on the popcorn machine. I don't want to keep switching you back and forth, but I'm going to switch you back and forth. He started here, played about a 7-minute stint, came in again, played a few minutes, briefly touched the court. Second half, played again about a 7-minute stint, didn't get back out there. Batum should start, doesn't mean he'll close, doesn't mean he'll get enough minutes here, but at 2,200, projected to play 22 minutes, he's a decent value. You don't really need value on the slate, and if you do need value, you'd probably better off playing Bogdanovic, but he's going to be 12% played. I'm getting 9%. Batum is somebody you just have to say out loud. Cam Christie, another 1K play. Kobe Brown, another 1K play. If the Clippers get their ass kicked, maybe these guys get out there. I don't know how you project to play those guys, though, at the amount that they're expected to play, less than 10 minutes. Colin Gillespie will look better if Grayson Allen is out, though it really comes down to how many minutes can Jalen Green play. Is he on a minutes limit? We don't know. But getting Gillespie right now at 32%, Fields at 24. Even if Grayson Allen plays, Gillespie can heat up off the bench. But with Jalen Green coming in, the opportunity for him gets a little bit smaller because Green's going to be gunning pretty much whenever he gets the ball. Derek Jones, another guy at 3,600, looks like a decent value. You don't have to pay down for Bogdanovich because you do have guys like Gillespie and Derek Jones projecting similarly, and you don't need that salary that much. You could pay 3,400 for Gillespie, 3,600 for Derek Jones. But Derek Jones should be out there. Started last game for the Clippers as well. Played 28 minutes, not including the blowout time. Derek Jones has been producing fairly well, and there's so much opportunity for the Clippers to go around. He looks like a solid play. Grayson Allen, we talked about already. Q tag on him. If he plays, he looks good. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Vika Zubac, Chris Dunn. I guess we haven't talked about Chris Dunn. I'm a little bit low on Chris Dunn. His rates don't really jump up in any meaningful way with Harden and Kawhi off. They didn't really last year either. That said, he's another guy that'll be out there a bunch. And I guess theoretically too, with him, being a starter, like if Bogdanovich doesn't play as much, Chris Dunn's still going to play more. He's more expensive than Bogdanovich by a good amount, but there's only so much court time to go around. So if Bogdanovich doesn't hit, there's a decent chance that somebody else is playing over him at how low his salary is. That could be Chris Dunn, and Chris Dunn does add some defensive stats. Played 30 minutes last game. So Chris Dunn in play, even though he's not a great projection play for me. I'm at that salary. I'll show you guys the game-by-game view, even though you don't need it really. But Clippers, 111 implied points here. Here's everybody we just talked about. Brook Lopez, somebody that can theoretically spike an upside at 4,200, won't get played very much. Chris Paul, if he starts, looks a lot better coming off the bench, kind of hard to play. He's been shooting terribly to start the year. 36% true shooting. Again, league average is about 58% and change. He'll be better at some point. He's just not there yet. He's also barely shooting at that. Nick Batum, barely shooting. You expect, based on the usage patterns here, that Collins would gain the most shooting opportunity. Brook Lopez off the bench should get a decent amount. Zubac, he'll get shots up at the rim. That's it. Clippers, ugly team, and nobody is really playing well here to start the year, besides Zubac, Collins, and Bradley Beal looks okay. He's another one where I don't know what the minutes can get to for him either. But again, anybody who starts, just be open-minded to and probably play more of them, because the assumption currently in Stokastic's data, and I'm sure it's the same industry-wide, is that Beal's not starting, Chris Paul's not starting. If those guys do start, the minutes should come up, and then that's another way to spend more salary with, the endless amount of salary you have. All right. And Jay, I appreciate the kind words here. I was Smack doing a show. Yes, I try to show up every day that there's a slate, and especially, it's still 50K. So that's enough to justify the time here, but Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern every day. Not weekdays or weekend days, but please do hit that like button. Please subscribe here, guys. I do the best I can here, even on days where it's hard to get the enthusiasm up. I still show up. I still try to get the enthusiasm up. And that's all I can promise here, along with showing you guys my data, of course, which you get access to yourself by joining the Discord. $5 to join if you want to get access to the stuff I show you here on screen. The matchup sheet I have, my exportable projections, they're part of the Squirt Squad tier. So join down below, do that, and feeling really good about the data. I feel like, to me, another 2 weeks of the NBA data rounding where it needs to. I think my projections are really going to be cooking, but I keep hitting on stuff that's good every slate. So hopefully that'll pay off today. If not, I think it'll pay off more on the full slate that we'll have tomorrow. And Saturday too, because I do projections on Saturdays and live before lock on Stokastic Saturdays too. The content never ends. Phoenix on their side. We've talked about everybody here. If Mark Williams gets in foul trouble, Iguodala, Nick Richards will play a little bit more. Real fast, we'll pull up the popcorn machine because we're going to make good time in this video no matter what. So when Mark Williams comes out, it is Iguodala coming in. Though there is a period here where they go double big with Nick Richards, Iguodala. Didn't do it in the second half. If Mark Williams gets in foul trouble, it is Iguodala that's going to take over. So That's one way to play it for a tournament. I would think more so if you're 150 maxing. If I were putting in one entry, I'd probably try to play the best plays and think about, some game theory around that. If I were playing a 150 max, maybe even a 20, a lineup that looks good with Mark Williams, pay up for somebody else, shift down to Iguodaro. Whenever there's going to be a guy who's decently owned, like Williams is at 50% expected ownership overall. And I got him a lot of captain too, so like leveraging against my projections too. Taking the direct backup who plays basically every minute when that guy's not out there. Logical thing to do. It's what happened with the Fears versus Alvarado stuff. That happens, honestly, every DFS slate, basically. Just take the guy that's the direct backup, and that is Iguodaro to Mark Williams. Ryan Dunn, I think a player that nobody's going to want to play on the slate. I got him at 41%. He's playing at a 0.95 fantasy point minute pace to start the year. His opportunity goes away a little bit more if Jalen Green starts. But nobody's going to want to play Ryan Dunn because you can afford better players and people still play Beal, play Chris Paul. I think especially if those guys aren't starting, playing Ryan Dunn, who is a starter, and I don't see any reason he would lose minutes, especially if Grayson Allen is out today. Ryan Dunn will be out there a good amount, and he's not a fun play, but he's producing pretty decently to start the year. Rebounds a little bit too. Royce O'Neal is also out there a lot. That's really all Dunn and O'Neal have going for them. O'Neal, another guy people aren't going to be excited to play on the slate. I do think his projection would pop pretty meaningfully if you took Grayson Allen out. Grayson Allen looks good to me. Captain play, open for that too if he does play. If he doesn't play, then we're not going to play him. But everybody else who is kind of a peripheral Suns piece will look a little bit better. And you'll get a shot as well, like I've mentioned, about Jalen Green starting. Gillespie looks less good with Jalen Green coming in. Will look better, though, if you take Grayson Allen out because the minutes should get a little bit higher for Gillespie. And Jordan Goodwin, same principle here. Just you got guys getting squeezed right now by Jalen Green entering the lineup. If Jalen Green starts and they all play, the squeeze gets even tighter. But right now, these guys all project for some amount of minutes. And if Grayson Allen is out, then they're going to get more minutes than they would have gotten normally with Jalen Green coming in. Let's go to a sim next. Let's do this part of the process here. So you've seen what my data looks like. And again, for captain ownership, I did get Devin Booker the most at 44%. Second most, Mark Williams at 24%. Grayson Allen at 15%. John Collins at 9%. And Ivica Zubac was my big captain fade with only 4%. But we'll see what Stokastic has now without any interference from me. And for NBA showdowns this year as well, much like in NFL, it did increase the pool size of lineups. So you got 25K lineups here we're going to see with Stokastic data. If you want to get access to that data, use that promo code SPLASH, link down below. Gets you 15% off, which is the best deal they have going right now. So take advantage of it, whether it's NBA data you want, NFL stuff, both. You get them all for 15% off when you click that promo code or click the link down below or use the promo code SPLASH. And it does support the show too. Half the money that you pay to Stokastic comes back to me, and I want it. Gimme is what I say to money when possible. But like actually. All right, let's sim this out. Do 25% to first. Say oink, oink, oink. I'm a piggy. I want money. This is what happens when I get money. When you click that affiliate link. There's also me. Click that link twice. You get this. Let's look at these top lineups here according to Stokastic data. Mark Williams, captain. I love to see that based on my data. I don't love to see that because I'd like to play it. Mark Williams, captain. Grayson Allen, Ivica Zubac, Jalen Green, John Collins, Chris Dunn. So you could see here, crazy value for Bogdan Bogdanovic. You don't even have to play him. And even without playing him, we have enough value here and still leaving 1,300 on the table. So that's the kind of slate it is. It's a weird NBA showdown slate compared to every other one I feel like I've ever played. John Collins, a captain at number 2. Colin Gillespie, Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Jalen Green, Mark Williams here. So spending a lot of salary, using all 49.8. You're getting less owned by playing John Collins at captain. Would be a little bit tough to love John Collins at captain with him coming off the bench. But you know what? You're getting all the stars in and you're using a lot of salary. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of lineups using salary compared to what it normally is. At number 3, you have a Devin Booker captain. Bogdan Bogdanovic makes this one as our 1K play. Bradley Beal makes it. John Collins makes it. Chris Dunn does as well. And Mark Williams. So we're playing Booker and Mark Williams, 2 guys. Fading Zubac here. Leaving 3,400 on the table. You can literally play whatever lineup you want, it seems like today. There's no amount of money that's too small to have a decent ROI on. Number 4 lineup is another Mark Williams captain. Bogdan Bogdanovic makes it his value again. Chris Paul makes it. Devin Booker does. Ivica Zubac does. And John Collins does. So we're playing all the top projected plays basically, but Mark Williams a captain and leaving a lot of money on the table still. And you're playing Chris Paul, who doesn't project super well. And number 5, Devin Booker captain. Chris Paul again. Derek Jones makes this one. John Collins makes this one. Chris Dunn does. And Mark Williams does. And leaving 2,600. So 4 out of the top 5 lineups leaving more than at least 1,300. A few of them leaving more than 3,000. One of them leaving more than 2,000. It's like, it doesn't seem based on the sim that these would be dupe fest kind of lineups. So I really am curious to see what wins tonight, because I have no fucking idea. Bogdan Bogdanovic, our top ROI player, positive 2.2% ROI for himself in the flex. Again, really no reason to play him at captain, but in the flex, you can play whatever you want around him theoretically. You just don't need to do it. John Collins at captain, our number 2 ROI guy. Derek Jones in the flex, number 3. Mark Williams at captain, number 4. And Derek Jones at captain, number 5. Highest exposures overall. Devin Booker in the flex. You're getting him in 56% of the top 150 lineups. Fields at 57. Jalen Green, 49% exposure. Fields at 19. So playing into the upside for Jalen Green. I mean, you have all the money in the world that he's going to be your number 2 usage guy in Phoenix, you would think. So Jalen Green, I do like playing him. He's probably going to be our top leverage guy. John Collins, 47% exposure. Fields at 55.5. So slight fade on John Collins in the flex. We'll see what we get at captain. Vika Zubac, 46% exposure. Fields at 51. Slight fade on Zubac. And Mark Williams here. We got 41% exposure. Fields at 50. So slight fade on Mark Williams. Most positive leverage plays right now. Jalen Green, we just talked about him, 30% leverage on him in the flex. Bradley Beal, 20% more in the field in the flex. You're going to play him 34% of the time in Stokastic's top 150. Mark Williams, 15% leverage at captain. You're playing him 19% there. Fields at 4. I am with that. I think Williams has the upside to win it for you as a more unique captain. John Collins, 14% leverage for him at captain. 19% exposure there. Fields at 5. So Stokastic playing less Collins in the flex, a lot more at captain. And Bogdan Bogdanovic in the flex, 11% more in the field. They expect to be played 29% of the time, and they're giving you him at 40. Biggest fades here, Zubac. Okay, so they're fading Zubac at captain too. Zubac negative 33% leverage there. Really big fade, which is what I had as well in my data. Grayson Allen, negative 19% in the flex. Obviously, if he doesn't play, that won't matter. If he does play, though, Stokastic will seemingly be low on him. Colin Gillespie, negative 14% leverage. He does feel potentially a little bit overowned for a guy that his role is getting squeezed if everybody does play today, including the now questionable Grayson Allen. Jalen Green should play no matter what. Nick Batum, negative 11% leverage. Minutes are not very good for him, but boy, they're fading him hardcore with only 2% exposure. And Mark Williams in the flex. We got more at captain, less in the flex. 41% exposure. Fields at 50. We'll try a hand build, I guess. Why not? I'm done. This is my last video for the day. Rip ESPN bet. I mean, fucking deserved it. They didn't take advantage of the opportunity. I had no overlap with Barstool when they got acquired by Penn, but they just seem like an incompetent company. But ESPN, I don't think, helped it out as much as they could, but that's what happens when you don't own the product and you're just like a licensing partner. But now there'll be a DraftKings site and they'll reference DraftKings data, and another big win for DraftKings. Big DraftKings, killing it again. All right, let's put in Bogdanovic. I don't want him at captain. I want him in the flex. But Bogdanovic at 1K. Maybe we'll swap up off of it, but I don't see how you don't put the 1K guy in. I just, logistically, to me, that doesn't make sense to not play it that way. Devin Booker, I would expect the best shot to be our captain here. You can see projection-wise, he has a 64 projection at captain. Jalen Green, 35. Zubac, 62. Mark Williams, 43. You would be giving up a lot of projection and not play Devin Booker at captain. Well, I guess we're going to play Devin Booker at captain. I didn't switch the screen. I guess we're going to play Devin Booker at captain. Here we go. Jalen Green. I think he could score enough off the bench, and I think we can afford him. So I'm going to put in Jalen Green for now. Zubac, I think makes the lineup no matter what. Mark Williams, I think makes the lineup no matter what, barring foul trouble. That leaves us with 5,400 left. So we can't afford John Collins. We could afford Chris Dunn, Brooke Lopez. I would like to get to John Collins, but I think if I do that, that means fading Jalen Green. We put in Collins. This is like an absolute chalk fest lineup. 7,200 left. Can't afford Bradley Beal. Could afford Ryan Dunn. Could afford Royce O'Neal. Grayson. I mean, the projection play for me would be Grayson right now. Or Dunn. Chris Dunn, that is. Maybe Ryan Dunn, the ownership's low enough that I could spend most of my salary and be okay. So the lineup I just built here, Booker at captain, Bogdanovich, Collins, Zubac, Mark Williams, Ryan Dunn. 6.5% ROI. Have to imagine the ownership's pretty high on that. If we don't play Dunn, play Royce O'Neal. Because like Grayson projects better, so he's going to be, all right, so the ROI is coming up. I think it might like it the most with Grayson in. But this feels like this is going to be duped a million times. 1,400 left on the table. Booker, Bogdanovich, Collins, Zubac, Mark Williams, Grayson Allen. 70% ROI, but it wins 1.2% of the time. So this lineup, probably a pretty good shot at winning relative to like, you know, it being DFS and nothing ever really has a good shot of winning. All right, so let's see. What if we don't play Bogdanovich? We got 9K left. Oh, wait, I took out the wrong guy. Who did I take out? Okay, Collins. Take out Bogdanovich. So we have 2,400 left. We play Nick Batum. So we're fading the 1K obvious value guy that we really don't actually need to play. We're playing Nick Batum, who's a starter. ROI fell off a cliff. We lost too much of projection, I think, with that. But that's fine. I think for a showdown, I think we're always willing to lose projection on a showdown in particular. There's really nothing else you want to play. Your projection's not getting any better. Well, fuck it. I guess that's it. Let's play this lineup, dupe 100 million times. It's got a pretty good shot of winning based off the projection data. But I do think like maybe swap Collins. Like I like Collins a lot, but you go from Collins to 9K left. Bradley Beal maybe. Leaves a 1,600 in salary on the table. 19% ROI. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's going to be your chalky lineup that people will play a lot when they do play Bogdanovich. And I wouldn't blame them because the lineup looks good. But I will give you guys my splash plays for the day for this one gamer. But I do appreciate it if you guys can hit the like button, especially today where this video didn't need to exist. No, but I make my promise, as I always do, to show up and do the work. I do it every day that I possibly humanly can. So please show some love back if you can. Hit the like button, subscribe. We begin over 100 likes reliably, keeping the views up as well. But help me keep fighting that battle, pushing that boulder uphill like Sisyphus. Help me out. Hit that like button, subscribe. Support the channel as well. Stokastic, 15% off promo code SPLASH. All the tools I just show you on screen, all the data as well. It's all at your fingertips for 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. You can also click the link in the description down below and join the Discord. It's $5 to join and support the show. You get in there. If you join the channel down below for $5, you also can get the Squirt Squad tiers. You get access to my data, including the sheets I show you here on screen. My projections I get updated throughout the night. Even when I'm not playing the late slate, I update out of obligation because I care. So please do join here Monday to Saturday. I'm updating my projections way too much for you guys and for myself because I'm gambling on the same slates that you guys are. So please do join down below. And splash plays for the day. This Bogdanovich guy, tell you what, you don't get a lot of 24x values. So I still think I'm going to try to figure out a way to play him. That's an obvious one. Mark Williams, getting up on him a little bit more. Like, Mark Williams will get played a lot, but I think putting him at captain is interesting. The kind of build that we made that, graded out so well. Maybe instead of Booker at captain, you go Mark Williams captain. Hope you get that right. Zubac captain, same build, probably gonna be chalkier. I think that's, I like Mark Williams a lot. Whenever he's going to be on a slate and I can play him at a reasonable price, or I can afford to play him, I like playing Mark Williams, so I'll do that today. Grayson Allen, if he plays, if he doesn't play, I think just trying to play Jalen Green. Like, he doesn't project super well for me, but just trying to get there, because the price tag, nobody's going to want to hit it, but he's probably got like your fourth highest ceiling on the slate if he does somehow play more minutes. Maybe even third above Mark Williams if he played a lot of minutes. I think watching out for what Jalen Green, what happens with him if he starts especially, and getting more of him would be a good move. But I think that's it. It's a showdown, guys. You see it enough. Hopefully this gives you something good to play today. But gamble responsibly, guys, especially for an NBA showdown one gamer. Even though it is always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the channel at Splash Play Bets or at Splash Play Pod on YouTube. If you want to see my NFL showdown content for the day, I have a video on Stokastic with Laffy from this morning, the strategy show there. I also have my own video on the Splash Play Pod channel for NFL. So check that out too if you want to play that one. I think going a little more Raiders scoring friendly is going to be a good move for that showdown. Check it out, and I'll see you guys again soon. So enjoy your days. Thanks for watching. Good luck, and see you tomorrow for a real slate in the NBA. All right, bye, guys.